10 greatest single season by a Tennessee wide receiver. So when we dig into this, we find that what's the similarity that Tennessee, we did running backs yesterday, has had a lot of good wide receivers, and they have had a lot that have had big times seasons for the Vols. So I want to go through this list. And this guy makes the list. He's a polarizing figure. The future, Kelly Washington, back in 2001. He was number 10. I don't know your thoughts on Kelly Washington. I think that he was, I think he came out a little bit strong and then was going to turn things around and be a beloved player. I think he worked incredibly hard, but with a neck injury, he didn't have a chance to correct his image, which I think went south when he's pointing up at the stands and that sort of thing. But I thought actually Kelly Washington was going to turn into a very good teammate and football player, which probably stuns a lot of people on the message board.
Yeah, the debate for me was, do I put Kelly Washington in 2001 or do I put Dante Stallworth in 2001? And I went with Kelly just because Dante missed 3 games. But I will say that had Dante played the whole season, Dante probably would have been the one on this list and not Kelly Washington. But Kelly going over 1,000 yards, that 256 receiving yards game against LSU, you just can't ignore.
Larry Severs, 1975, 41 passes, 840 yards. We're talking a different time, but Larry Severs is one of the beloved players in Tennessee football history. That's number 9.
He started wide receiver U. I mean, he literally started it at Tennessee. In that 75 year, 840 yards in 1975 is like 1,400 yards now. So that's, the stats aren't fully there, but I wrote this out. With the exception of Willie Gault and Carl Pickens, I feel like if you're an All-American, you automatically make this list. And the only reason I left Willie Gault and Carl Pickens off is because they kind of made it more as return specialists and receivers, not just receivers. You know what I mean? So I didn't think that, not that Carl Pickens wasn't a great receiver, but let's be honest, Carl Pickens was just as well known for his electrifying ability in the punt return game.
Yep. Give us some of your thoughts, best receivers in Tennessee football history as far as a single season. Number 8 is Tim McGee. That was in 1985. I feel like between Severs and between some of the Pickens and the Alvin Harpers of the world, that McGee kind of gets forgotten and a little bit left off. Maybe Stanley Morgan overshadows him in the 80s too. But he was incredibly good in 85. I'm interested to see what you say about Joey Kent, because McGee had 50 catches for 947 yards, 7 touchdowns in 85. Because Joey Kent in 95, you've told me before that you didn't think Joey Kent was an elite receiver and that Peyton Manning was responsible for a lot of those yards, which I would agree with. Is he getting credit because Peyton Manning was so darn good?
Yes, but that happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, the person I have number 1 on this list, I wouldn't take him over a lot of the receivers on this list, but he still had the best season because he was in the right scheme. And I mean, production matters. Joey Kent had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. It was because of Peyton Manning. I mean, Tennessee produced a 1,000-yard receiver in 95, 96, and 97. They had this guy playing quarterback for them in 95, 96, 97 that, just kind of had a huge role in that. But Joey Kent got 2 of those, and I think the 95 one was a bit more impressive than the 96 one.
Yep. Yeah, Justin Hunter, number 6. I thought he had the physical ability that he could have run with the Alvin Harpers and those guys. I don't think there's any question. And I say that knowing that he ran with some pretty good ones, Derrick Rogers and Cordero Patterson, excuse me. But I thought Hunter was the best of the 3. What did you think?
I did too. And for all of Dooley's faults, and had a lot of them, he actually did well coaching receivers. But as you know, that was the one area of football he knew well. He's not really a ball guy, unfortunately. He didn't know X's and O's that well, even though he hates it when you say he's not really a ball guy, by the way. He gets really mad. But like, you and I both know he's not a ball guy. But receivers is one area where he actually knew, and he coached receivers well.
Peerless Price in 98 didn't have 1,000 yards, but you could argue number 1 because of a key catch against Florida State. The way he played that entire season, he was the one player I thought that could really stretch a defense, and Tennessee was able to run the ball. You just couldn't leave Peerless out there on an island for an extended period of time and not get burned. You got Cedric Tillman, 2021, Marcus Nash, 1997, Robert Meacham, 2006. So we've got some other honorable mentions, including Jawan Jennings in 2019, Josh Malone 2016, Lucas Taylor 2007, Cedric Wilson 2000, Corey Fleming 1993. So the best season ever turned in by a Tennessee player. Name it on the message board, and you're winning a hooker shirt. Because if you don't know this, then you're absolutely insane. This is the easiest number one of any list that's ever been created. I
I mean,
mean, you want to give a hint? Because there's a delay before we get sometimes our post. But if you want to give a hint, you can.
not sure what hint I can give that wouldn't just straight up give it away.
It's not
Because
Jalen.
it's so
It's
easy.
not Jalen Marriott. How about that? It's not Jalen Marriott. Our first person that puts it up there, you know who it is. Jalen Hyatt last year. He won the Blitnikoff. That means you're a pretty darn good receiver.